Psychology tells us that the smallest, tiniest habits are what actually shape the biggest parts of our lives. So today, we're diving into some really powerful wisdom from Japan. We're going to explore 5 tiny daily behaviors that can quietly but completely transform your mind, your discipline, and even your emotional stability. I mean, we all know this feeling, right? It's the constant pressure of the hustle culture, this nonstop push for massive, life-altering achievements, and you have to do it right now. Honestly, it's just a recipe for feeling totally overwhelmed and like you're always falling short. But what if we've been looking at it all wrong? What if, instead of always trying to add more, we focused on something smaller? A philosophy that values consistency way more than intensity and celebrates small steps instead of giant, terrifying leaps. This is where Japanese wisdom offers such a fascinating alternative. So let's start by really digging into the core issue here, this constant, relentless pursuit of more. It almost always leads to the same place, burnout. It's a mindset that kind of sets us up to fail before we've even really started.
Okay, so look at this. This slide really lays it all out. On the left, you've got that all or nothing approach. The classic New Year's resolution trap we all fall into. But on the right, you see the path that actually works. This idea of just getting 1% better. It's that tiny shift in focus that changes absolutely everything.
So the big question is, how do we escape that all or nothing trap for good? Well, the answer lies in a foundational Japanese principle that's just as simple as it is profound. And here it is, Kaizen. It's the habit of making continuous, tiny improvements. So instead of chasing some huge, intimidating change, you just focus on one small step, something your brain can actually handle and sustain day after day. This number right here, this is the key. Just 1%. I mean, that feels achievable, doesn't it? This isn't about overhauling your entire life by tomorrow morning. It's about finding one small thing, just one, that you can improve by a tiny fraction today. And this is the genius of it. It's not just some nice philosophy, it's straight up neurobiology. Every single time you make that little bit of progress, your brain gets a small hit of dopamine. And that's the chemical that keeps you engaged, that keeps you motivated. It creates this positive feedback loop that those big, scary goals, they just can't compete with. So this is how it all comes together in a simple, actionable process. First, you pick one small thing. Second, you improve it by just that tiny 1%. And third, and this is the most important part, you repeat it. It's that consistency that turns these tiny little changes into massive, incredible results over time. Okay, so now let's see how these same principles can apply to our minds. Let's look at some habits that are specifically designed to create mental clarity and help us fight back against that feeling of being constantly overwhelmed. This brings us to Danshari. Now, it's often translated as just decluttering, but trust me, it goes so much deeper than that. This isn't just about making your space look nice for Instagram, it's about creating real mental clarity by literally removing physical noise from your environment. And the science totally backs this up. Studies have shown that a cluttered environment can actually increase cortisol, which is your body's main stress hormone. A clear space, on the other hand, helps lower it. So that feeling of calm you get after you finally clean your room, yeah, that's real and it's biological. So when you think about it, by decluttering the physical space around you, you're literally giving your brain more room to operate. You're freeing up all these cognitive resources that were being wasted just processing all that unnecessary stuff. Okay, so let's shift gears from our mental space to our physical well-being. These next couple of habits are amazing because they show how a small, really mindful approach to our bodies can have a huge impact on our overall stability. This one is called Hara Hachi Bu. It's an Okinawan practice that is so deceptively simple. The whole idea is to stop eating when you feel about 80% full, instead of pushing it until you're completely stuffed. It's a tiny adjustment, but it requires you to actually start listening to your body. And this little chart just illustrates the concept perfectly. It's not about restriction, right? It's about creating space. That little 20% of room is what prevents that awful feeling of being overloaded and helps keep your energy levels stable all day long. What's so cool about this is what it's actually training in your brain. It's a skill called interoceptive awareness, which is just a fancy way of saying the ability to listen to your body's internal signals. And this skill,
It is absolutely key to preventing things like emotional eating because your mind finally learns to work with your body, not against it.
Next up, we have Shinrin-yoku, or forest bathing. Now, this isn't about hiking or getting a workout in. The whole point here is to walk through nature without rushing, to simply observe what's all around you, the light, the sounds, the feeling of the air. It's a completely mindful sensory experience. And you don't even need a lot of time for this to work its magic. Psychologists say that just 10 minutes is enough to activate your body's relaxation response, which lowers stress hormones and totally resets your emotional state. It's such a powerful tool for getting some mental clarity. And for our final theme, let's explore something really special: the power of quiet observation and intentional solitude, something that is so deeply valued in Japanese culture. This habit is all about strengthening what psychologists call cognitive restraint, which is really just the ability to think before you react. So, instead of jumping in with noise and impulse, you create a little bit of space between a stimulus and your response. And it's in that space where clarity and better emotional control live. And this connects perfectly to the concept of hitori, or alone time. In a lot of Western cultures, being alone can sometimes be seen as a negative thing, right? Like something is wrong. But in Japan, it's often celebrated as an essential practice for reflection, for recharging your mental and emotional batteries. So, as we wrap this all up, the key takeaway really isn't about Kaizen or Danshari or any single habit. It's the philosophy that connects all of them. It's this idea that real, profound change doesn't come from massive, disruptive efforts. It comes from the quiet accumulation of small, consistent, and mindful actions. This whole explainer has been built on one simple idea: that the small things matter most. So, the final question, it's really for you. It doesn't have to be some big, grand plan. Just one small 1% change. What's it going to be?